For as we light our own candles from within, as we allow ourselves to reunify with the flame of our heart, the triple flame conductor, as we become the conductors of our own experience, as we become the conductors of our own experiment, as we change and morph with the meanings of what we are interpreting. That's a big play on words, guys. As we allow ourselves to access the higher points of our dominion, as we come back into the sovereignty of our domain. I'm seeing like when you buy a domain and you're like, I own that, that's my domain. I'm also seeing reference to our bodies. And as we come in with, and I'm hearing our sovereignty here instated, so reinstated. As we come back into this and we allow ourselves to flow and be in the flow, but not get sucked up by the flow. And then I'm seeing people getting spit out into places that they're like, what happened and how did I get here? Come back into the heart, come back into coherence and take our power back. Not giving our power away even to the waking up train. I'm laughing because as Candace and I were in flow about this, and I was in flow with some other starseeds about some of the things they had posted, and it is about entrainment, right? But it's also about the DNA train, that ladder. It's like sometimes we get spun out and we fall off the wagon, and it's about getting back onto the wagon and not being stuck in that like, well, why? What happened? Spun out. Right? It's rein it back in. And when they say rein it back in, that's a big play on words too. Put that crown back on. I am the sovereign being. I represent source because I am source. And not saying this other person needs to represent what I believe in. It's not about that anymore. All right, some light language. As we activate our new chariots, our new, I'm hearing cherubim, I'm hearing chariots, I'm seeing chariots of fire. I'm also having reference to the Merkaba. As we activate our new ways of being, we allow ourselves to rein in, to wash clean, to, they're showing me like controlling the weather, so to speak. I'm hearing stormy weather, I'm hearing, but then if we're singing about it, so they're showing this layer. So if I'm singing the song Stormy Weather, I'm thinking of the song, I'm singing it, therefore I'm sending my awareness and attention into it. And what they're showing me is singing a new song. Isn't that a Neil Diamond song? Okay, now I see reference to the diamond, of course. Sing a song. I'm trying to hear that song. Yeah, yeah. I will have to look that one up. So figuring out these reference points, what they're kind of showing me is that we've all got these way stations. So it's good to check in once in a while, just like a truck, just like a train. They check into the station so that they can make sure that they're still on track, that they still have everything on board that they need to get to the next station. So oftentimes I go back to what I said in the beginning. We have all these activations that are going on, but rather than jumping to the next station, we got to stay on track. And as we stay on track, it doesn't mean that we're staying on one track and having a one-track mind. All of the tracks are converging together. So it's being open and staying in that space of coherence and that frequency of love and implosion that allows us to stay on track. And what is that track? That track is traction. It isn't about staying on a linear track. It's about traction. It's about gaining traction to then expand into the next advancement, so to speak. And this is all play on words too. When we see this advancement, expansion, we hold more. So if I'm this big in what I'm taking in, right? And then I go to the next way station, I can't hold any more charge, right? But if I'm here and I'm recognizing all of these shifts that are going on and I'm allowing myself to integrate and to digest that energy, then by the time I get to the next station, I'm ready for more. It's just like a sponge. You know, you can't fill a sponge that's already full. And this is a reference to a cup that runneth over. This is a reference to our bodies and physics. I'm hearing the chalice point. Okay. So they're showing me chains, like chains are being broken and reformed. And I talked about this in another video. And this happens as we go through these upgrades. It's like we're breaking the old chain and we're plugging in with things that fit it better, that change the shape of it. And this has to do with ribosomes. This is a play on words. I have to write that down. So let me just go back into flow. As we shift and morph and change and evolve and change our alignments within our body, we also change our alignments with our reality. And this goes back and forth, right? So they're showing me that braid or the caduceus, right? And as we shift and merge and connect with one another, this too establishes counterpoints, counter rotations, counter spins, counter. So this is also a reference to time. It changes the, what's that music counter? It changes the count. It changes the time. It changes everything. So I'm being guided to talk a little bit about why I tone and just bust into light language sometimes. And then they're also showing me pulling in different realities. So sometimes, and apologies if I run out of time on this, I didn't realize I was going so long. When we go into different, so when I tone, I'm connecting in with the sound, the vibration of that frequency, as well as with my intention behind the tone. And when I say certain words, they trigger certain feelings within the body that can allow us to feel more expansive when the messages are shared. There's a lot of other stuff about that too, but that was just the short version. What am I at? Can I see? Okay, I am at 20. Ooh, okay, so I might be okay. As the time changes and spins and rotates around us, and as we morph and change and drift through this plasma that we are all existing in together, as we reunite with our heartfelt frequency, we are allowing ourselves to extend this to our ancestors. We are extending this to our brothers and sisters. And it's like that vine when you extend this vine, divine knowledge. We are assisting in the transportation of the chemicals within our bodies and within one another. We are assisting in the transportation of the stations and the way stations in which we are representing, connecting with. So I see this as like lattice points in the universe. So if you think of a crystal lattice, it's like we are going through all these different lattice points through the universe. And they're also referring this to the Akash. So it's changing the knowledge that's available to us in the Akashic library. So as we expand and as we stay in our hearts and as we have what the, Buddhists, yogis, some physicists, they talk about positive thoughts, but it's from here. That's what is shared in the Akashic library, right? The record. So when we stay in these spaces of expansiveness, we're sharing that with each other because it's a collective. The Akash isn't just one person. It's everything. So let's stay in that space of sharing love and light. As we reunite, as we reignite, and as we spark the heart flame, this is more, by the way, guys, that's more, there's more to it than just a heart flame, but it's a good visualization to have. And if you visualize that heart energy expanding out around you, you're feeding that into the space and the plasma field around you. You're feeding that intention and visualization, and that has power. It holds power. And in addition to that, it's like the magnetic field around the earth. What does it look like? It looks like a torus. And that's what we have spinning around us, within us. Everything is a torus because everything is charge, right? From one perspective. We are the locks that hold the keys. And this is the plan words. They're showing me, what is that? They're showing me hair, like locks of hair. They're showing me locks that are not like you have to take an outside key to open. It's like more of a Rubik's Cube that once it turns and twists, so picture a lock, it's a combination lock. If you look at it mathematically, once a certain frequency or vibrational code is reached and activated, it twists. And then the next code twists. And then the next code lines up and spins. And then the next number, geometry, and this all shifts into geometries, and then the next number lines up, and then all of those numbers fit together mathematically to form an equation, an equality, to then create a frequency form sound, inform sound, information, that then triggers more activations, memories, knowings, and there's more to it. Obviously, I'm not like a physics, well, we all are, but okay. So, also what they're showing me is that's all vibrating. So it's a hum, it's humming. And as these, if you're a numbers person, you see it as numbers. If you're a geometry person, you can see it as shapes. And thinking of all of that vibrating and signaling one another. This is body, mind, universe, earth, elementals, everything does this. But what they're really showing me right now is the DNA. And then this has a color that then all of that working together creates something new. As this lock combines with the molecular structure of creation in a new creative fashion, you guys, again, all plays on words, but not. So they're showing me that rather than thinking of needing something outside key to fit in, to turn the lock, the key is within. It is implosion. And I am using implosion a lot because I finally got caught up on a few Dan Winters videos and recognized that that's what I had been saying in code this whole time. So before I would call it coherence, or you could call it the spark. I was calling it the spark, the sparkle. So that's what that is. And so essentially the sparkle, then if you think of it, sparks that response, that comes from love, peace, gratitude. I say joy a lot, but if somebody doesn't know what joy feels like, they can usually feel gratitude for something. So once we have that feeling of just being in a space of, wow, I am so grateful for the color that I am able to see right now in that plant. I'm so grateful for the food that I have. Wow, that creates bliss from one perspective. That's the charge, that's the sparkle, that's the lock, that's the combination, that's the number. That's the geometry. That's the spin. That's the wave. That's the wave rider. So that's a play on words. They're showing me it's like writing a program. So again, they're using all of this. They're using it like a computer. They're saying it's like beautiful nature. They're saying like whatever your flavor is, whether it be math is the language of the universe, geometry, which is math, shape, sound, color, magic, whatever, yes. And that wave writer, it's writing a new program. And as it writes a new code, as it breaks the lock, it never really breaks, it just morphs. It's like they keep saying quasi-crystal. They're saying a quasicular alignment. So that's a play on words between quasi, quark, molecular, coil. So I finally started watching these videos and I kind of am seeing this now, but I've been seeing this for years and I'm like, I don't even know if that's a word. So fun. Apparently these are words. Sometimes I make them up. They're very Alice in Wonderland and they have all these multiple meanings. But what they're sharing is that is like if you think of a Rubik's Cube and if you think of each face, each block within the Rubik's cube as holding part of the code, and each cube shows a different vibration, a different number, a different sound, a different color, a different frequency. What happens then is every time one of those twists, it changes the combination, and then everything from that vibrates differently. So while we get into the physics of this, and by the way, this is not just the physics, they're showing me it's the physical description kind of, or the description of matter combination with, they're asking me to play with the word physics, because it isn't just physics from a linear perspective as to what physics really is. It's beyond that. They're saying that they're just giving representations of what's going on kind of in the body and the molecular structure. The importance is in the creative process. So utilizing what's going on in the body and utilizing all of these things to then create and make manifest what it is that you wish to experience. And they're showing me that this, again, has this ripple effect as you change your DNA and as you change your molecular structure. So I look away from the camera sometimes because I just look off into the greenery in my yard and I just go with the flow. So as you shift into this molecular structure and as you change these physics, you are then activating and furthering your ancestors. You're bringing forward the energy of your ancestors. You are not only remembering what once was, you're changing the future of what will be. And being that many of our ancestors are from the future, ooh, we're going to go into time travel here a little bit, you are also changing the past. I love it when we go there. It's so Star Trek. And I was never really into Star Trek, but now I'm kind of digging it. I was more of a Star Wars kind of girl, right? Same difference, guys. It's all connected. It's all awesome. So allow ourselves, as we allow ourselves to line up with these new feelings, we also allow ourselves to stay on track. So we're back on that track, on our gaining our traction, gaining our momentum for our resonance, they're saying, for our reasoning, for our resonance, for our resonance. So they're asking me to play on that a little bit, and I'll probably go back and write this down and play with this. But if I were to take that, I would take it into so many places. It brings it back into resonance, which is coherence, which is our mind-body, our body-mind, our heart-mind, trivergence, connection that allows us to have resonance with all things, with unity. All of this is play on words. Our technology and beyond, to stay in this, to gain traction, attraction, for molecular exchange, interchangeability,